Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another One Piece manga review. This week, we're reviewing chapter 1007, Mr. Raccoon Dog. I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Mr. Christian Hollinger. Christian, how you doing this week, bro?
Doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Can't complain. This chapter, we are talking about it a little in pre-pro. It was all right.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
on the weaker side, in my opinion. But like you said, you have that.
Yeah.
So, what can you do? Oda's trying to push the narrative along. But like we do, like we do in these reviews, let's give a quick, brief summary, and then we'll dive into each little topic. So basically, it starts off, and we see everybody. We see all the different members of the Oniwabanshu and the Mimurari Gumi straight taken out. Hirogoro, that dude. Everybody's like, "Whoa!" Samurai from Wano. X Drake was like, "I see why Sakazuki's scared of him. Okay, this guy out here, Yatape doesn't want to kill him." And like we said last week, Chopper's gonna come in and save the day. Queen did make a good little thing of like how, oh, he's a pirate. He would have ran off with the antibodies. Like, y'all shouldn't trust him, blah, blah, blah. Chopper's like, nah, I'm Chopper. Drops his little nebulizer thing. Saves all the Ice Oni people, Hirogoro and everything. After they were like, nah, fuck you, Queen. You don't care about us. We're outie. And Queen even went further into the speech, but we'll talk about that in the thing about how he was like, your pleasures, like, fuck y'all. It doesn't matter what's up with y'all. And you waiters, smiles gone, dummies. So like, y'all are fucked. And then basically Chopper heals everybody. And, Chopper's doing his thing. People loving on him. People like, yeah, Raccoon Dog. Protect him. And Marco's like, get a punch in, bro. And he's like, well, I'm not a raccoon dog. And everybody's like, oh, sorry. Didn't mean to call you that. So Chopper gets a punch in. Go back to Momo talking about how he feels this and whatnot, how he doesn't like any of this. Turns into a dragon, and Yamato's like, hey, what's going on? And then we pop up to that CP9, CP0 member talking a little. We'll dive deeper into what he was talking about, but talking some stuff about Punk Hazard and Vegapunk's former failures. And then the end of the chapter, well, I'll just wait to talk about the end of the chapter when we get there. But Christian, direct us where you want to go first and what you want to break down.
All right. So, we can start over from the beginning. So, I think it's very apt that we have Caesar in the cover story, with Chopper talking about weaponizing science, essentially. You've got Caesar, which I think is a way of Oda using that callback.
Didn't even make that connection.
And the other thing about it is Chopper in this scenario actually does make a weapon that does not necessarily medication completely. He actually makes a virus and weaponizes it. It just so happens that this virus attacks Queen's virus.
Yep.
So it's almost as if what happened here was Oda was saying that Chopper took what Caesar did
and learned from that,
fully flipped it and made it his own, which was a nice detail here.
Do you think Caesar, just a quick side note, do you think Caesar is because Chopper did beat him, so it does make sense why this could happen. Do you think Caesar, in terms of science, is a better scientist than Queen?
Yeah. Okay. Right now, I get the impression that if you were to rank them scientifically, Vegapunk is obviously at the top. Then it's Caesar. Then, you can look at Queen. There might be some other people who come in between them. But Queen gives me the impression like at some point he was like maybe what Orochi was to the Shogun to someone like Judge. Mm-hmm. So Queen got just enough that he's lethal as a pirate who, decides to use his knowledge to create weaponized viruses and other things that destroy the body. He got enough of that. But if you're talking about like actually understanding lineage factors and all of that, no, I don't see Queen at that level.
I just want to ask, like, power ranking our scientists, because after this, Chopper might be up there, man. Chopper might be like, I don't think he's Caesar level, but he might be. He's above Queen.
No, that's something I'm going to get into. Chopper, like in this case, there's a couple of straw hats that I spoke about this in the past with Sanji. That it's like keeping track of how they're ranked in the world and their specific talent. I think we were actually sleeping on a lot of them. Like, Frankie spent his time studying Vegapunk's work in one of his old labs. Frankie also memorized, the Pluton. So it's like, as far as scientific knowledge goes, Frankie might be up there with Caesar and Vegapunk already. As far as I'm concerned, Sanji could very well already be the world's greatest cook. I mean, the cake feat in Whole Cake Island, we all know it's great, but you got to remember Sanji did that off of looking and smelling it one time. You know, he did not know what the ingredients were. He smelt it and looked at it and perfectly was able to recreate that. And that was supposedly a masterpiece of Strussen's. So it's like, you know, Sanji just casually made something that took out a Yonko, and that was not, you know, so it's like, you could argue Sanji's already at the top of the verse for cooking. You know, Chopper, so I'm just going to get straight into this because it ties into my point. So we kind of prophesized that Chopper was going to come in. I didn't really think Hyogoro was going to die just because of the chapter structure. You know, if you're going to have Hyogoro do all that excellent stuff and then make that speech about I'm fine to die, if he was going to be beheaded, it would have happened in that chapter. There was no reason for Oda to drag that over. So I'm saying, okay, I personally don't think he's going to die. I think Chopper's going to figure this out in the last second. He's going to save him. So that's exactly what happens due to the hesitation. I thought it was hilarious. You know, we're going to come back to the Queen thing just so that we can get through with this Chopper segment. But when you get to the page where Chopper is blocking the sword, it's like, wait a minute. Like, I'm just like imagining Chopper and Zoro like training on the Sunny and like some slice of life's filler scene. And he's like, all right, Chopper, like, let's see if you can block like a blade with just your hand to make a callback to like when he tried to do the no sword style and catch the sword. So I was like, Chopper blocking a sword swipe, like, yo, that's impressive.
And of a notable swordsman.
Right. And then that face that Oda draws him with him just looking absolutely adorable. It just, how do you take a moment like that? It just, it's hilarious to me. That was great. So Chopper shoots off his Chopper Phage nebulizer, which is, you know, this weaponized, you know, virus that specifically attacks Queen's virus.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm imagining that this puff of mist is pink, like the cherry blossoms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the callback. So this is the point that I was trying to make. I feel as though, you know, Queen, when you read into his text, he talks about how his Oni virus is his, like a high grade piece of work for him.
His magnum opus, bro. That's like,
right.
That's his best work. So like.
Right. So you're telling me that Chopper literally off screen and in a couple of minutes defeated your best work, and he's supposedly never seen this before. Now, granted, of course, Queen did have the antidote. So it was Chopper analyzing the antidote and then, you know, doing his Senku science thing to turn it into, you know, the virus attack. However, earlier in this arc, you know, Oda establishes that Chopper can, from scratch, see something of Queen's for the first time and almost immediately, you know, fix it. So yeah, Queen did expedite this process by actually providing a small sample of the antidote, but this is now proven. Chopper casually, you know, has overwhelmed Queen scientifically, and we see Queen specifically say, like, where in the world does someone like you acquire this kind of knowledge to counteract me? So that to me was great. Again, I think we've both said this in the last couple of chapters, but we've been underestimating. I know I speak for myself, underestimating the Straw Hats. Frankie is doing a whole lot better against Sasaki than I thought. Robin's about to, you know, do her thing against Black Maria. Sanji and Luffy were perfectly fine with Nami and Usopp going up against Page One and Ulti. And so here to see Chopper one draw blood from Queen, granted Marco is, you know, still holding on to Queen in like a chokehold or whatever, it's really nice. But at the same time, being able to see that these Straw Hats have actually advanced and actually deserve to be at this level. Chopper says, look, we've been spread across the world. We got the best of the best.
And you got to realize, I watched this last night because I wanted to rewatch old shit.
Yeah.
And Whole Cake, dude, straight up I'm not going to say held off. I'm not going to say he did.
Yeah,
Big Mom, but like, he did see, he saved the ship. So like, and it was him in Monster Point, so I could see him drawing Brilette from Queen after dealing with Big Mom. So I mean, it's not that unbelievable. It's not like he's about to beat Queen by himself, but this is believable.
But yeah, like I said, so this is the thing that we were talking about right before the review. So this, to me, I'm chalking it up to Oda and his detail. So a good example of this is that we know that completely unrelated, Zoro's swords, Sandai Kitetsu, but we've seen the Nidai Kitetsu, Enma, and Sandai Kitetsu all have this flame pattern, like temperament in the blade. So some manga panels, Oda will show that to distinguish that from something like Wado Ichimonji that does not have that flame pattern, but he doesn't always do that. So sometimes the swords are drawn with, just the black and white portions without that flame drawn. So my point is that if you overanalyze the manga, you have a scene where Chopper's been able to draw blood on a commander, and we have Sanji who, in his raid suit, was kicking the crap out of Page One, and we don't see Page One bleeding from the mouth like that. So then it gives power scalers, especially people who are just trying to troll the power scaling, this skewed view. Personally, do I think that Sanji could have drawn blood from Page One? Probably so. No, it just didn't draw it. But to see that here, kind of caught me off guard. So it was still very, very nice. The reactions that we got, I love whenever Oda makes multiple members, especially members that you wouldn't expect to make reactions.
Like X-Drake, didn't expect X-Drake to be in that list.
I mean, Marco is kind of a troll, so I completely am down with that, because Marco would do that. The Yakuza bosses, that was a little bit out of character, for them. But I could kind of see it. X-Drake participating in this gag is what really, kind of sold that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And real quick, just to backtrack. The thing you said about the numbers, even them out. Queen, man, hit them with such a speech, they don't give a fuck about y'all, dog. Straight when he said pleasures, bro, you dudes are idiots. Y'all are just smile users that failed, bro. We do not care about y'all. But it was the waiters that got me. It was why are y'all still here? There's no more smiles. We can get more soldiers. Y'all are idiots.
Right. And I mean, that plays out again because that's one of the things that I believe has that'll play a major role in arcs coming up. So I was thinking about the same thing. In Whole Cake, Big Mom, she's misguided, but she's not, in my opinion, pure evil. So her family loves her, but they know that she's a threat. Mm-hmm. So when you get there, you have people who look at the Straw Hats in somewhat of an admirable way, but mainly because of their own issues with their mom. So you have, Pudding, who, comes to love the Straw Hats. You have Katakuri, who comes to respect Luffy. Brule comes to respect Luffy. You've got, Lola and Chiffon. You've got, what's the Mink who recognized...
I literally just watched his shit too.
Right.
The Lion. Oh man.
The Lion. Yeah.
Gosh. Well, it's gonna haunt me.
He recognized that the Straw Hats, came and saved Zoe. So you have these people who look at the Straw Hats admirably within the book Big Mom Pirates, but then you get to Wano, and it's just a whole nother level, because Big Mom doesn't have a meritocracy per se. She probably does evaluate who's strong, but Kaido is just you come over here, you fight and you die. So that's just what it is. And so it makes sense that the fodder would be like, yo, I didn't know it was like this, because for the most part, who comes and challenges Kaido? Mm-hmm. So for the most part, they were probably signing up to just be bullies to the people of Wano. Now it's like, oh, this is what pressure's like. And Queen's like, yeah, y'all are all trash. So it's very interesting to see how the numbers are being talked about. And then we immediately get Tama, who is forcibly switching the sides. And now you have Queen, who is completely alienating their fodder forces. So that's looking really bad. But again, it's still looking way too good for the Alliance. Like, the one issue that was brought up is like, no matter how well y'all are doing right now, y'all have a numbers problem. And it's like Oda goes directly into, well, here's two major ways in which the numbers are going to start switching around.
But you still have those executives. It's like we still have to take out the Toby Ropo and the headliners to even make a dent. And now that Chopper's out the way, we have to move to that. That is, I picture when we come back from break, we don't even deal with the end of the end nonsense. And we'll get to the end nonsense. I don't think that gets dealt with when we come back. I think when we come back, it's time to get into fight after fight after fight. It's gonna be your choice. So, but real quick, the Momonosuke thing is interesting with CP0. I've been leaning towards the collapse of Onigashima, leading to the Wano people realizing the fight and being the casualty. Does Momonosuke save it from dropping?
I've heard about that. I don't see how that would happen. Like, for one, it's implied via CP0 that Momonosuke's Devil Fruit is the failed version of Kaido's Devil Fruit. Now, also based on the implications here, maybe I'm reading too much into it, maybe Vegapunk realized that it wasn't necessarily a failure, but it wasn't necessarily a perfect replication of Kaido. So he said, okay, well, I'm still going to like kind of keep it off here to study it, but, you know, no one should really consume it. So we don't necessarily know, because again, Kaido's fruit is supposed to be, you know, a fish fruit. And if it's based off of that legend, then, you know, unironically, Kaido kind of starts off like the drawing that Luffy made of a fishman at the beginning of One Piece, a koi fish, and turns into, you know, the Gyarados like dragon later. Mm-hmm. So the fact that Momonosuke already has a smaller version of that dragon makes it seem as though, well, he's a child, so that's a child-like dragon. So I just don't see Momonosuke, who's only once been able to do something like that with Luffy in the trash heap at Punk Hazard, being able to somehow sustain that and lift an island at all. I don't know what's implied here, because it's obviously implied that obviously Momonosuke is not a failure, which means that he's going to do something. I think it is important. It is important, you know, to change this narrative of the dragon. So, you know, when they leave, Kaido's going to be out, Momonosuke is going to be in. So it's a new dragon for an old dragon. So at some point, Momonosuke has to do something, but it's just like, I'm still not seeing what he can do aside from saying something that's perhaps inspirational and people saying like, oh, you know, that was very wise for your age or something. But physically doing something, I don't see it now. Maybe a distraction later down the road, something, I don't know. So
yeah, it's weird because I'm with you. You don't put that CP0 thing in there without him doing anything. But it could be that when shit starts falling, he's catching people. So, you know, it could be something like that. But like you said, things are going too well, and devastation has to come soon. Because that's the Kabuki played thing. And it's like, we're just waiting for this third act to end. I don't know. It's looking weird right now.
Looking way too good. I mean, before we even talk about the Odin thing, we've got the Scabbards who seem to have recovered. So it's like, again, power scaling wise, I've got the Scabbards over all of the five. All right. So obviously, then Jack says, no, the Toby Ropo cannot handle the Scabbards, even if they're wounded. So if, you know, Kinemon is standing back up, I'm looking at this. Nekamamushi seems to be fine. Kawamatsu's fine. Everyone else is pretty much sitting up. If that's the case, then, who's the most powerful faction on the floor right now underneath the rooftop? King and Queen. They're being, completely babysat by Marco right now. And then there's plenty of scabbards to go around. So that means the Toby Roppo wouldn't really be an issue. And then you've got, the fodder, which is constantly being flipped to the Straw Hat Alliance. So something major has to happen that's bad that starts taking the Straw Hat Alliance numbers down. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's just going to be Hybrid Kaido when we come back from the break. I don't think we're going to get there yet. I think we are going to see some of the Toby Roppo fights show some struggle. I think Frankie's going to have to get damaged at some point because he's still looking way too clean right now. Jinbei is, not even focused on Sasaki, just off-screening him completely. I need to see some struggle from him. Nami and Usopp are kind of just running away from page 1 and Holtzy, so they need to come up with a plan, concrete strategy there. Yeah. I'm very curious because, if we're showing Chopper and his growth in this chapter, we're seeing that a lot of things are being pushed, and I think now is the time to address Dressrosa with Usopp unlocking observation hockey.
Thanks.
Give me some more of that. I'm very interested in that. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
I'm with you as well. You as well because that's what I'm seeing for next week. It's like pick your choice. I would love to see Jinbei, but he's probably holding it. If anything, I see us going like you said, Nami and Usopp. I feel like that's starting up next week, or Sasaki and Frankie, just because that's been the closest to being finished. Just to be like, all right, here's some hype. I know it's not. We just went to Chopper, so here's Frankie. It's a little hype. And then next week, probably Nami and Usopp or Robin, pick your choice. And then I'm thinking Jimmy.
Sanji needs to hurry up and get to wherever he needs to get to. He's really the only person who's still not matched up, who needs to be matched up. Chopper can literally just get out of Monster Punch and no one's concerned. You did your thing, Chopper.
Exactly. You did your job, brother. You are successful. Chopper has an A right now.
Right.
So, but let's talk about the end, the crazy end. What is up with this Odin shit? And let me just clarify my theory that you shot down in text. But I'm just saying, I'm gonna say it here. Look at how his hands are placed. Is that Blackbeard's Katarina Devon?
Man, no. Okay, man. Okay, look. I get Blackbeard showed up at Marineford. He always shows up where there's chaos. Okay, and he tips the scales. I get it. I get that. Was it in the middle of Wano, or is it right before Wano that it cut away to Moria going to visit
in Blackbeard?
So during Wano, we got a cutaway about Blackbeard making moves. So there's reason to believe it, but I really want to say that Blackbeard's move right now is on whole cake. Again, due to the parallels of Marineford, I understand Blackbeard showing up, possibly if he's getting a third devil fruit somehow, and then possibly he somehow gets Kaido's devil fruit or something. But personally, I don't think Katarina has seen Odin or has a tether to Odin, so I don't think that this is the introduction of Blackbeard's forces.
Gotcha.
Also, if Katarina was here, how did she get this far into Onigashima? And why is she concerned about the scabbards?
Yeah, true.
So it's as far as I'm concerned right now.
Who you think it is? Who you got?
It's either Kanjuro trolling them with the drawing of Odin, or it is Onimaru. Now, I say I'm leaning towards Onimaru right now.
Oh, interesting. Because I'm leaning towards Kanjuro.
I mean, Kanjuro makes the most sense because we already know that he's technically on Onigashima. His supposed, defeat was off screen, so we don't really know anything about that. And we're plotting, or we believe that Orochi might still be alive in some capacity. So if that's the case, Kanjuro could for the same Kurozumi plot. So it would make the most sense for it to be Kanjuro. But I'm just going with Onimaru because, one, we got with Odin somewhat of a deflection from the Hiyori thing. That silhouette looked like Hiyori, maybe as a backup for Rokujo with the long ears, but my bet was Hiyori. So Hiyori kind of like disappears from the train of thought. I did think it was interesting that they focused on Kawamatsu in this chapter because Kawamatsu is the one who has the correlation to Hiyori, but he also has the correlation to Onimaru.
Yeah.
And so my thing is this, though. So this is the only reason why I'm throwing my bet in for Onimaru is because personally, you might dismiss this as just Zoro fanboying, but I don't understand how or why or if we're even going to get any more backstory on Zoro as a character. So like in Whole Cake or in any other character arc, we usually find out about that character's backstory a little bit more. So there's things like Roanoa, I don't know what it is, but it's a translation or it means something similar to Ronin, which in this case means like, you're a samurai who has no master to serve. Mm-hmm. So when you think about Zoro being a Shimotsuki, if his family left Wano, then they broke off ties with their Shimotsuki duties. So maybe they dropped the name Shimotsuki and took on the name Roanoa because they no longer are serving, the Kozuki family because they're gone. So it's like, okay, at what point are we going to get that? We got references to who a lot of the fandom believes is Zoro's dad. Well, Zoro's dad's companion was a fox, which I believe was Onimaru. So to me, that clash at the bridge where Onimaru is talking to Zoro about Ryuma, it's just like you don't bring up Ryuma, you don't bring up this notion of the Black Blade with Zoro, and then you just drop it. And it didn't seem as though Onimaru acknowledged Zoro completely yet. So it felt like a plot thread that needs to be tied off. So personally, for me, I'm hoping that Onimaru somehow, in some capacity, if he is the companion of Zoro's father, is on Onigashima or witnesses something so that we can get some kind of confirmation.
Pertaining to that. I like that. At least we're just both of the same accord that it's not fucking Odin.
No. I mean,
and the swords give it away, if anything.
I mean, obviously, we all know that he doesn't have Enma with Zoro having it. So even if it was Odin, he could get 2 other swords. But I mean, to explain how he doesn't have any kind of boil wounds, no bullet wound, you would have to
and he looks the exact same.
You would have to explain like someone created a duplicate, but then that doesn't make any sense because who else but Odin could have stood in a boiling pot for, as long as he did, holding up his friends, and then still, tell Kaido the things that he told him, unless that really was Odin. But then it's like, what kind of Toki shenanigans would have sent a non-damaged or non-dead Odin to the future? And if they were going to send Odin to the future, then what was the big, problem? Obviously the war is won. If you send, if this is Odin, it's okay, well, shit. Go to the rooftop. Go
upstairs, bro.
Go upstairs.
Finish up what you started.
It's over.
Yeah, facts.
So no way. I don't understand what Oda's doing. Obviously he wants us all to speculate, but it's just like, it's not Bon Clay. That was my first thought. Like whoever, then it was like, well, that can't happen. That's not Bon Clay.
Because is he an Impel down, like running 8.2 or 8.5?
Right.
Or whatever, 5.5, whichever level it is.
Yeah. I mean, Bon Clay, he's obviously going to get out at some point, but him being in Wano, like the poetic justice of him having the devil fruit, since it was shown that the devil fruit was there with the Kurazumi elder before it was with him.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, but then you're saying Bon Clay at some point met Odin, which I guess is possible because Crocodile has a, beef with Whitebeard. So maybe he ran into Whitebeard around Odin. And maybe Bon Clay saw and,
But that's a lot of like loose. That's a lot of maybes and what ifs.
That's a lot of maybes. So it's just like, I don't think Bon Clay is going to be there. Nor, again, does he have a correlation with the Scabbards? Like, I'm just thinking, who could be portraying Odin, or who has an ability to do this? Is it an illusion? Is it Fuguro Kujo using transformation juice? Huh?
Is it like dream state? Like they're so injured there, but like who healed them? It's just like, it
could be that, but I mean, just that just came to mind that now at this point, I possibly believe that we have had a lack of ninja stuff. So that could be a clone using transformation jutsu to rip off Naruto. That could be Fuguro Kujo. I absolutely have no idea, but we all know it's not him. So it's someone who has some correlation to the Scabbards and is trying to get their guard down.
Yeah, facts. Or motivate them. It's either get their guard down or motivate them. But I don't think you motivate them with Odin. I just don't.
They should know he's dead.
Yeah.
They better than everyone else. Like, you could fool the Alliance.
You can maybe fool the Yakuza.
You can't fool them.
Yeah, not them. Especially like not Kinemon and the people who went to the future. Fuck no. And Kawamatsu, who's there years after, and Dendro, who was gone mad and like, nah, bro, nah. No way. You're like looking at it like trying to see. I have no idea. Zero idea.
That would be hilarious if Dendro's face just like immediately fixed itself.
Turned back, yeah. Like,
turns back.
We're good. Hey, all the madness gone. You're up your back, Odin. We're okay.
Instantly goes away.
Well, yeah, man. Like, so I mean, look, next week break. So Dragon video is coming out this week. Finally, we're gonna probably do the Alabasta arc review. Might do it in 2 parts. I'm gonna talk to you about that, but. Other than that, that's it for this week. Christian, tell the people they can follow you out on social media.
Yep. Twitter, Instagram. You've got my personal account, ARCHSZN, Arc Season, or my graphic design account. So it's going to be Design Season LLC.
Make sure y'all go follow Christian, man. And be sure to check out the Dragon video this week, dropping. And then be on the lookout for the Alabasta arc review. But we'll see what happens in 2 weeks, man. We'll let y'all know. I'm going to be checking spoilers like a madman. Wait.
Yeah.
Jeez, Crazy times. What? All right, that's all we got for this week. Until then, peace.
Peace.